Welcome to the GAB Talks by the Independent Press Award. I'm your hostess, Gabby Oldak. To participate in the 2024 Book Award competitions, please visit independentpressaward.com and NewYorkCityBigBookAward.com. So excited today to be joined by Dr. Josh McConkey, author of Be the Weight Behind the Spear, a distinguished favorite in the 2024 Independent Press Award in the motivational category. Josh has more than 20 years of experience as a board-certified emergency physician. While in medical school, he commissioned into the Nebraska Army National Guard. Josh deployed to Iraq in 2007 as a flight surgeon. After some time in the Air Force Reserves as a critical care air transport physician, Josh earned the rank of colonel in 2019. He's a highly decorated member of the United States Air Force Reserves and commands the 459th Aeromedical Staging Squadron. He was a professor at Duke University from 2013 to 2014 and an adjunct until 2018. He offers youth leadership training, business leadership development, and team building workshops. Josh joins us today from Apex, North Carolina, where he lives with his wife, Elsa, and their 3 children. Congratulations, Josh, and welcome to the GAB Talks.
Thank you very much, Gabby. I appreciate the chance to come in and interview and chat with you guys. I'm obviously very excited about this book. And it's my first time writing a book.
It's your debut.
It's been very exciting. Yeah, debut book.
Yeah, and what a way to get out of the gate. You know, Josh, your leadership initiative was inspired from your childhood, your time spent in combat, and as a United States Air Force commander. Explain the significance of your title and your leadership ethos, Be the Weight Behind the Spear.
Yeah, so that Be the Weight Behind the Spear on my challenge coin. Boy, I bet I've even got a copy of one here. I could probably grab one of my challenge coins to show you guys. But I've got the Latin inscription along the bottom of that coin, gravitate hastem. You know, it's a gravity of the spear. Be the weight behind the spear. And that leadership ethos is really a call to action for Americans. And then a lot of the men and women that I'm fortunate enough to command, getting behind our heroes. So, you know, with 22 years in the military, I've got to do a lot of very unique and interesting things. My time at Iraq, there was a lot of scary things. I'm very lucky to survive that. And, you know, we can't, you know, for Americans, you know, sometimes I think they feel detached from what their involvement in our national security picture. I think what they do every single day matters. And what I'm trying to get people to do is engage in their communities. We can't all be, you know, the special operators kicking in doors and shooting bin Laden in the face. Right.
Right.
That's not what I do.
Not possible.
But I take care of men and women that do that. And for the rest of Americans, getting behind their future leaders, their children, you know, the heroes and the police, firefighters, your teachers, you know, that's the best resource that we have in this country is our people, coaches, mentors, volunteers, and families. That's what makes our special operators, these men and women that do some pretty amazing things. That's what gives them the confidence and the monster egos that they have that allow them to do some of these crazy things because we ask them to put their lives on the line every single day. So Americans can be the weight behind the spear. And so I think that's really important. I'm trying to get that message out.
Josh, who do you consider, you named a few, to be the key individuals who are that weight behind the spear?
You know, for me, it's my family.
Your family.
You know, my wife, my children, my siblings growing up, my teachers. I have some good poignant stories in the book about little Josh pulling some shenanigans and, you know, kind of getting put in the right place and getting taught some life lessons by some teachers and coaches in my family that put me in a position where I can pay that forward to the men and women that I command. So that's been my weight.
You said the strength of the American family, and I love this quote, and the cultural bonds formed around the dinner table offer some of the key ingredients required to ensure the success of our children and their future. Tell us a little bit more about that, why that's so important.
Yeah, thank you.
I have dinner with my family every night, so I'm on the same page.
Yeah. So when your children see that you take that time every day to sit down with them and ask them, because American life is very, very busy. I know for our family with 3 children, we're pulled 5 different ways: gymnastics and track and piano practice. I mean, you're going 100 different directions. But just sit down, you know, as best you can, like a couple of times a week, or if you could do it every night, sit down as a family and just have that family bonding time. It shows your kids, number one, that you care, right? You're going to sit down, you're going to take that time, you ask about their day. We always ask them, was there anything great that went on with your day? What was your favorite part? What was your worst part? Is there anything that we can learn from? And it just shows them that you're involved and that they're important. And it allows them to take some risks in their lives, right? They can go out and they know they can come home every night and sit down at a dinner table with their family. It doesn't matter how bad of a day I've had as an emergency doctor. I'm not always successful with codes, right? And so with children, especially with the opioid overdose that I see a lot right now, the drug crisis in this country, but I see a lot of people die. And when I come home and I've had just a miserable day and I've done everything I could do to save someone and not been successful, that's hard to deal with. But you come down, you get home and you sit down with your family and you have a dinner and you can share that. That's a very special thing. It really builds everyone up around you and makes your family unit stronger. And it gives your kids that confidence to go out there and do great things with their lives.
So Josh, you're really involved in your community and very active in the community. Tell us about your youth initiative, leadership initiative.
Well, for everyone, it could be something different for everyone. When you talk about being the weight behind the spear and engaging in your community, for me, it's been coaching. I did Holly Springs Parks and Rec, here in North Carolina. When the kids were younger, I coached soccer, I coached baseball. For a lot of people, it's just getting involved in their schools. I think next Monday, I'm scheduled to go in and be Gabriel's lunch helper for their teacher in their school. So the teacher gets to duck out and gets their lunch break. Just little things like that. For others, that's getting involved in your church or just what you do with your family, getting more involved. Be the weight behind the spirit can mean something different to everyone, but the overarching theme is to just engage your community.
Josh, do you believe that America's, you've said this in your book, single best resource is its people?
Yes.
Why is the dialogue about our values so relevant to national security? You talk about that a lot.
What sets America apart? Right now, our biggest adversaries are the Chinese and the Russians. And they fear our people. They fear what we're capable of. I think the first thing when you talk, you debrief, not that I've done personally, but just reading some national security debriefs and things, nothing classified. But on engagements and literally Cold War strategy, longtime adversaries with the Russians, their comments were always that Americans think outside the box. They don't even follow their own protocols half the time. We try to develop critical thinking, and that starts at a very young age. I think that leadership model, be the weight behind the spear, it contributes to that with those family values and the cultures that we develop. But that is what sets America apart. That's what China fears. That's what Russia fears, is our people. They know we have a very well-equipped military, but it's our people. It's the coaches, teachers, volunteers, and families behind our heroes that really give us the edge.
So what do you think is the difference between great leadership and bad leadership?
That's such a great question.
Thank you.
Everyone knows a bad leader, right?
Everyone.
Everyone. I mean, it's hard to when you've had a great leader, you almost don't notice it sometimes. They're not hogging all the glory for themselves. They're paying everything forward. For me personally, I don't take any credit at my squadron. It's the people around me. We just had a big unit effectiveness inspection about a month or two ago. We had a nuclear operations inspection, and I try to lead. I lead by example. I don't like to micromanage. I surround myself with very good people and try to recognize good talent. And if people aren't pulling their weight, then that's why I have that discussion. I have to find someone else to fill that role. But when you get the right people around you and you just let them do their job, I think General Patton had some of the best quotes on leadership. Don't micromanage. Just give them your intent, and they'll take care of it. You can't get in everyone else's business. Then you'll see on the flip side of that, when you have a bad leader, somebody who's just always, they take all the credit. Have you seen Christmas Vacation?
Yes, I love that movie.
All right.
Yes.
So that great when he gets that cereal varnish formula to his boss, and his boss goes and presents that, and just obviously takes all the credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie is just absolutely hysterical. So
bad leader. That happens pretty often.
It does. Between you, immediately recognize bad leadership.
Sure.
Good leadership. Sometimes you don't really appreciate it until you've had some very bad leaders. That's probably the best way to describe it.
You're a flight surgeon and the director of special forces operators. They're para-rescue men or PJs who carry out tremendous civilian and military rescues. Really elite group of individuals. What do they all have in common?
I think they don't quit under any circumstances. No matter how overwhelming the odds are, no matter what mission set you put in front of them, it is very humbling to serve with these types of men and women. A lot of them lose their lives. My cousin Zachary is the Special Forces, was a combat control in the Air Force, and now he's an 18 Delta Special Forces medic on the Army side. He actually just retired on April 1st. He's the last person alive from his graduating class.
Wow.
So when you try to put into perspective how dangerous these jobs are, they go through a mental health and psychiatric screening process that there's not a lot of people on the planet that can mentally do what they do, let alone physically. And that's probably some of the things I take the most pride in is my time that I have got to work with individuals like that.
I'm sure. What can we learn from them? Just
no excuses, ultimate accountability. So when someone comes to you for a problem, you recognize people, especially, the men and women under my command. No does not exist. I don't want to hear the word no. The word no doesn't exist at all. If there's a problem, come to me with the solution. Don't pass the buck. Like the buck stops right here. So all of those individuals, I think you'll hyper ownership. Like everything is their problem. Everything is something they deal with. Nothing gets passed down the line. No one shirks responsibility. When you have a team that operates like that, you are unstoppable.
I can see that. It's amazing. So Josh, hold up your book. This is your debut.
Yeah. There you go.
Fantastic. The Weight Behind the Spear. Tell us what inspired you, what motivated you to do this? I mean, you're a highly, highly accomplished man. You're a surgeon. You're a pilot. You've done it all. You're very decorated. You're amazing. Why become a writer all of a sudden?
What I see every day in American society and the emergency department, I think the COVID generation of children that had to come through that, shutting down schools, shutting down access to churches. So I see every day the repercussions from the anxiety, the depression, and unfortunately some increased suicide risks. There's an entire generation of Americans that I feel like we have failed miserably. And so the whole impetus behind this book was to try to get this message out there. America right now is separated, politically and generationally as it has been in a very long time. And I'm trying to do something to get Americans to focus on what I believe are some of the big problems with our youth. This is the future of our country. We're handing the keys to the car over to these kids in 15, 20, 25 years. And we have to teach them these basic skills of leadership because I feel like we set them up to fail.
You refer in your book, you say that you think that we're eroding America's core principles.
Yeah.
Okay. From what you've seen, your experience, what makes you think that? And how can we prevent that from continuing?
Well, just what you see every day with the anxiety, the mental health issues, and a lot of the depression in this younger generation. I think people are much busier. They focus more on social media. I think taking a little bit more time and sitting down at the dinner table with your family and spending
putting the phones down, putting the phones down while you're doing that.
Put the phones down.
Yeah.
So much of this, the inability to cope with situations, inability to cope with stress, has a lot to do with, I think, just American life, what it's turned into in the last 10 years. And social media does play a big part of that. When I was a kid growing up, to bully somebody, you had to go punch him in the nose. Now you just type away on a keyboard from halfway around the world and you can make people's lives hell. Just social media. It's bizarre, but that's what these kids live with. That's all that they know. And it's our responsibility, like everyone in America, like coaches, teachers, volunteers, parents, like it is our job to teach this next generation. And I think we can do a much better job than what we're doing.
I love that in the book you share many experiences from your childhood, from working in the emergency room, from combat. Yeah. You've had more than one brush with death. How has that? Yeah, up to you. How has that shaped your belief system, who you are, and how you carry out your life?
Well, it's really strengthened my faith. It was probably the biggest thing. You don't find a lot of atheists in foxholes.
Yes, right.
When you stare death in the face, and just the first air assault that I did, I was very, very sure I was going to die. They had shot down 8 aircraft in 2 weeks. The day I landed in theater, they shot down one of our helicopters. Actually, the pilots lived, and then on that air assault alone, you just realize that it's not about how big your house is and what kind of car you drive and how much money you make. Like, nobody cares. Like in combat and with those life and death situations,
you're all the same.
Everybody's the same. You know, what I love, some of the stories I love the most, when you have incoming mortar fire, okay, you've got lots of individuals that kind of live behind the wire and don't really get a lot of exposure to danger. You've got big people, small people, big, strong people. And then you've got these special operations guys that have been through absolute everything and have nerves of steel. But let me tell you, when those mortars come dropping in on you, everyone freaks out. Everyone's scampering for cover. It's just an elemental instinct. Everyone is reduced to the exact same thing. Nobody cares about your car, your house, and your money. You're going to die here. And it just, I think I put that focus more on trying to develop leadership and take care of my family. And, you know, maybe had I not been exposed to those types of experiences in Iraq, maybe I would be more into cars and money. I don't know. But it's not the way I am now.
So you've taken this to a whole other level. Do I understand that you recently ran for Congress?
Yeah, I was not successful on that, unfortunately. But I'm told that, like, your first try, it did very, very difficult. But I felt strongly enough about the direction that our country was heading. As a military commander, I got 13% of my budget requests last year. It just decimated our squadron. I had to fight very, very hard to get more funding for my men and women to be able to do their jobs. Between that and what I see every day at work, I really felt that we needed more leadership in Congress. And I put a lot of time in on that one, an entire year of my life. So it was unfortunate to not be successful with that, but I think the right people noticed that. And I hope it sets an example, at least for my children, that if you care enough about something, do something about it. Don't just mind about things.
If you care about something, do something about it. And you got your message out there, whether you were successful or not, you were successful.
Yeah.
Because you got your message out to the right people.
Yeah. There's nobody here in North Carolina District 13 that doesn't know who I am and what I stand for. So I hope that people can carry that torch forward and really invest in our youth.
What do your kids think about all of this? They're old enough where they can have.
Yeah. Luca's 13. He's kind of at that teenager stage where I don't know if he's too cool for it, but hasn't seen a whole lot. My son Gabriel is 11, and he's been very interested. He went with me on a few campaign events.
That's wonderful.
Had a lot of great questions from my campaign manager, and just he really enjoyed it. So, you know, maybe that shows an example, and it puts a little bug in his ear for something he can think about in his future. And my wife, you know, is probably the biggest saint. She put up with me being gone so much, taking care of 3 kids. My hat goes off to her. I mean, that's probably most of that thanks goes to her for sure. But now I'm reintegrated back with the family and really focused on this book and getting a book tour out there.
So what would you say the most important, most relevant theme of the book is, Josh?
That what you do every single day matters. Those little things, those little decisions, those family dinners, you have a huge part to play in securing this country and providing our future national security by developing the youth of this country. That's incredibly important. I think everyone recognizes how important the roles are for our teachers in society. My wife is a teacher. My mom is a teacher. My aunt is a teacher. So I've seen that a lot over the years. And that's why I really highlighted some of the teachers in my life, you know, from middle school and from high school in the book, just to show that those things matter. And, you know, I don't feel like I'm anybody special. I've just been put in situations to try to do some good things, and I've tried to make good choices. And I thank my teachers and my family for that. So that's That's everyone's job in this country. You have a part to play.
Wonderful. I understand that you and your wife, Elsa, initiated a scholarship award at Shadron State College, your alma mater.
Yeah. Thank you. I was very excited about that. So 2023, you can probably, I don't know if you see it on the wall here, but I have two of these plaques. This one is Distinguished Alumni from Shadron State College. And then this one was, thank you. That was 2023. And then 2022, there was a Hall of Fame, the Wall of Fame for Alliance Public Schools. So just, I feel like I can provide an example for a lot of kids that grow up in small rural communities. The world is a very, very big place and they need you. Get out there, get involved. Like I said, I'm nobody special, but I've just been put in some situations where I was able to take advantage of situations and do some.
Well, you grew up in Nebraska. You grew up in Nebraska, and small town, I'm assuming, and now you're a surgeon, a highly decorated officer. So you're setting an example.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope people see that. I mean, regardless of where you come from, big town, small town, anywhere in this country, this is America and anything is possible. I truly believe that. And that's really the message I'm trying to get out in this book.
Josh, what is next for you? Physician, decorated officer, award-winning author. What are you planning on next?
Yeah, right now, taking care of my family after being gone, basically for an entire year. I'm still a commander at Andrews Air Force Base. So there's always lots of things and national security issues to take care of. I've got men and women that are in and out on deployments on a fairly regular basis. That's what we do in Aeromedical Staging Squadron, is we deploy men and women to provide the best health care anywhere on planet Earth. Critical care air transport, those my mobile ICU teams. I have a team leaving next week to do just that.
Wow. So thank you for your service.
Thank you. I've got a great team and I'm very excited that they're able to get out there and do that mission. I've been in for 22 years. And I suppose I'm a little bit jealous. Not that I'm an old guy, but those opportunities are probably few and far between for a colonel these days. What
does your team think about your book?
I've had several members read it. I think they enjoyed it. They had great things to say. They said the book is very easy to read, and knowing me and talking with me, it comes out in the book. That's exactly how I talk. That's exactly what I'm about.
I can hear your voice in the book. That is great. It's a great read and it's really interesting. And I love the personal anecdotes. It's really fantastic. So as I mentioned in the intro, you do offer youth leadership training, business development training, and team building workshops. How can our listeners and viewers find out more about all of that and also, of course, purchase fantastic book?
Thank you. So there's two websites. The website for the book, weightbehindthespear.com, will give you some information and to order that book. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, pretty much anywhere you can order books online. And, to book me for engagements, I speak with a lot of high schools, a few businesses as well. Josh McConkey for America.com. Always available.
Fantastic. Well, Josh, thank you so much. Thank you for your service. The book is fantastic, and I look forward to hearing more about it everywhere.
Well, Gabby, thank you very much for the opportunity, and thanks for what you do with the book awards, and I am very appreciative. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Enjoy your family. Everyone, Dr. Josh McConkey, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. This is your hostess, Gabby Olzak of the GAB Talks. Join us next podcast when we speak with Vito DiBarone, author of the YA series Botheration. Until next time, keep on reading. Have a great day.